So what we want to go now is, I'm just going to watch my time. Okay, good. The pattern types. There's 7 basic pattern types, and they happen in a certain order. And some patterns can be all bunched up in one area of the chart. Sometimes they're all around the chart, and these are very different things. So each person, before you even look at the sun sign or the moon sign or the ascendant or any of this, you look at the pattern type, you see the general pattern that someone runs on. It's kind of like a player piano music. Every time a circle goes around, it goes around in the same order.
The first pattern type is the bundle type. All the planets are within the space of a trine. 2/3 of the chart is empty. So all the planets, this pattern type is just a grouping of all your planets. They're all on one side within a trine. There are more conjunctions than anything else, no oppositions. So this is the uniqueness of the energy of the conjunctions. All the other pattern types often have oppositions or some awareness of what they're doing. This is more a direct drive. So here, the course of the person's life stays within the narrow limits of opportunity. One's interests will be gathered together intensely. The bundle type is instinctively inhibited. Most of one's energy will be directed into a few select concerns. One will be able to create much out of meager circumstances. One will be able to turn small beginnings into significant and unexpected outcomes. You will naturally express yourself in a few specific areas and generally stay detached from other considerations. The second pattern type is the bowl type. The definition is all the planets on one side of a chart within an opposition. 1/2 to almost 2/3 of the chart is empty. So really, the bundle holds up to the trine, within the aspect of a trine. So from anything that gets out of the bundle all the way up to the bowl, up to halfway to where there's an opposition. So from that 127 degrees up to about 180 degrees, that's going to be a bowl type. And so the bowl type has a deep sense of being separated from 1/2 of existence. Half seems to be with you and the other half not. Because this pattern is based on the opposition, there's an inherent awareness of duality. You'll embrace your concerns strongly. You will also be powerfully aware of what does not concern you. You clearly see who you are and who you are not. You tend to champion causes and will usually go out of your way to give to others on one level or another. Your sensitivity to duality will find you questioning the purpose of existence. The third pattern type is the bucket type. Here, it's like a bowl. All the planets are on one side, and there's one planet on the other side. So it has the idealism of a bowl, but it has an outlet to the planet on the other side. So that becomes a special focus. And so that planet it just has to be outside of the orb of the opposition. It can be 10 degrees. It doesn't have to be all the way across the chart. 9 planets are the bucket type. 9 planets are on one side of the chart with one planet on the other side. The bowl gets a handle. If one planet gets past the bowl's opposition, even by a few degrees, it becomes the handle of a bucket. This reveals a person who delves deeply into life and enthusiastically pours forth the results of experience. One's personal efforts will go out in an uncompromising or rigid manner. You will have a basic interest in a purpose or a cause, but you will have little concern over the final results. You will use whatever is at your disposal as you see fit. You are inclined to make allegiances that will be of the most benefit to you. The handle planet shows the main focus or outlet in life, so all the energy gets pushed into that one planet. That's the handle. The fourth pattern type is called the locomotive type. For the locomotive type, there is one empty area greater than a square and less than an opposition. All the other empty areas must be less than a sextile. There can be one empty area the size of a sextile as long as it does not divide the chart in half with the large empty area. This is a very powerful pattern. Power will emerge from your strong sense of a lack or a need. Something seems to be missing, and you are the person who can fix it. You will be driven to achieve things and solve problems. You are a self-driven, powerful individual, very dynamic and practical. You will be motivated more by factors around you and your environment than by your own inner character. The focus planet will be the one moving clockwise into the empty sector, and it will reveal the nature of your drive. The fifth pattern type is called the splash type. All of the planets are spread out around the wheel. There can be multiple empty areas, but they all must be less than a square. If there is one empty area as large as a square, the other empty areas must be a sextile or less, and the two empty areas cannot divide the chart in half. The splash type has many interests and has an inclusive approach to life. You will tend to go out in all directions. This can at times make you spread out too far, causing personal confusion and disorientation. You are capable of finding order in chaos. You would be an excellent convention coordinator or manager. Your nature is to be uninhibited and outward going. It will be difficult for you to stay focused on one thing. The sixth pattern type is the seesaw type, and there's more seesaws than any other type. The seesaw type, 2 planets on one side of the chart with 8 on the other, 3 planets on one side with 7 on the other, 4 on one side with 6 on the other, 5 on one side with 5 on the other. There must be 2 empty areas that divide the chart in half. You can draw a line through the 2 empty areas right across the chart and going through the center. One area must be a square or larger, and the other area must be a sextile or larger. If the large empty area is a square, then the other empty area must be larger than a sextile. The seesaw type is sensitive to both sides of any situation. You will continuously be challenged to empower one side or the other. As soon as one side predominates, the other will make demands. You live in a world of polarities and conflicts. You are capable of a vast understanding, but too often waste your energies by being incorrectly aligned. The seventh pattern type is called the splay type. The splay type, one empty area must be a square or larger. There must also be 2 other empty areas as a sextile or larger. There must be 2 or more ways to divide the chart through empty areas. It cannot be a bucket. 1 planet on one side and 9 on the other half. Even with a 3rd open area, it would still be a bucket. The splay type is established in its own unique ways. You cannot stand being labeled or classified in any way. You are yourself. You have a stable pyramid or tripod-like nature. You are sure of yourself even when surrounded by people with very different natures. You like to do your own thing. You walk to your own beat.